Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for an entrepreneur that in a previous career was a very successful salesperson and very competent sales manager, but was finding that life as a solo entrepreneur, someone that had a business partner but fundamentally was working on their own, couldn't access the same intensity, motivation, enthusiasm that they had when they were an employee. And part of that came from the dynamics of the environment, working around other people, but also being managed and held to account. So in this hypnosis session, what you're going to hear is an element of tapping into the resources that he had when he was selling the best and was the most motivated, most tenacious, most creative, most enthusiastic, but then also allowing a version of him to also tap into that version of himself when he was a great sales manager, so that he could effectively learn to activate both parts when needed, that he could manage himself to set challenging targets and to have clarity and strategy, but also when required, really become motivated and enthusiastic to generate more sales. Because in many businesses, sales is the lifeblood of that business. Acquiring new clients, generating new leads becomes vital to a growing business. This session was designed to get him reactivating skills and resources that were clearly already there, but within this new context of him being self-employed. And if you're listening to this, you might think, well, maybe you don't have a background in sales, in which case think of this session as a time in your life when you were highly resourceful, but maybe with a different skill set. And that might be a time when you were very creative, or a time that you were very motivated, but not necessarily to sell, so you can still get value from this session. If you are curious to work with me directly at an area that is very specific and unique to your life, there will be a link in the show notes that you can schedule a free consultation call, and we can explore what that would be like to work with you directly. Maybe you were very artistic at a particular time in your life, or you were very self-confident at a time in your life, and we can activate those resources. It doesn't have to be the ability to sell. It's just that this particular client desired that. They wanted to amplify the success in their business, and financial goals was one of those key areas that could be influenced by reactivating resources that were there from the past. There's also an element of future pacing, so you can see how this client could then see the impact of activating those resources within a relevant context. For this session, the ideal way to experience it would be to find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. And for any feelings of tension or stress to leave your body in your outward breath. So that as you breathe in and breathe out, you're able to feel a deeper feeling of calmness and relaxation. Notice that you can slow down your breathing. So as you breathe in a really deep breath there from your diaphragm. And as you exhale, just elongate that breath. So it's a slow, long, outward breath, enabling you to connect with that part of you that knows how to relax. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a place by the sea. And maybe it's a place by the sea that has big waves. And I want you to imagine a beautiful place with big waves that for some reason you're just there on your own. You, the sea, and those waves. And I want you to imagine there's a surfboard nearby. And I want you to imagine thinking, the waves are no good without the surfboard. And the surfboard is no good without the competency to use that surfboard. But if you can tap into that ability to read the sea and identify an upcoming wave, to get lucky and swim to it just as it breaks at the right height, to tap into the competency of jumping onto that board just at the right time, then doesn't the wave do all the work for you? You only need so much, and you can ride that wave. And I want you to think about the competency that you learned when you were selling. I want you to remember a time where you had the intention to sell, the desire to sell, but you didn't have the skills yet. You didn't know how to build that rapport, to create that desire, that need within them, to create a compelling argument for them to desire what you had to offer. But you learned those skills in the same way that a talented surfer originally didn't know how to surf and then they learn it. But you can't learn to surf by reading a book, and you can't learn to sell by reading a book. There's certain things that you only do by doing them. And I want you to recall those times when you were selling while having fun. I want you to observe yourself like you're looking back in time, seeing yourself at your most motivated. See what you were wearing, how your hair was. See that hunger in your eyes, that motivation, that self-belief. I want you to see what you were doing back then, how you got yourself into that mindset of being convinced in your abilities even though you're not in control of all the variables. A surfer is not in control of the waves. They just read the waves. Back then you weren't in control of your clients, but you could read when they were interested, or you could generate their interest. You could see those windows of opportunities opening and do what was necessary when the opportunity arose. But I don't want to just see you motivated. I want you to see yourself enthusiastic, brimming with enthusiasm, being in love with the game, passionate about that desire to compete, to get the results, to win. I want you to observe yourself when you are at your very best, your most resourceful, and when you can see yourself at the very best you've ever been with all the resources that would be useful for you now. Just let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to imagine stepping into that version of you from the past and feeling all of those wonderful resources, feeling the motivation, the drive, the hunger, the compulsion to close the deal, to win. I want you to recall a time where you closed a deal and it just felt amazing. You felt 10 foot tall and bulletproof. And you became addicted to that feeling. You were chasing that feeling again and again, and your competency grew. And I want you to feel where in your body you feel that feeling of being addicted to the game, and just point to that location. Feel it expanding, intensifying. And from this point forward, whenever you recall that time in your life where you were at your best, and just mimic that motion, that intensity, you will feel all of those resources fueling, unlocking, flooding your body, all flooding back again. Make that motion again, tap into all those wonderful feelings. That's it. There it is, intensify it. 10 times even more of those wonderful feelings. Realizing that with this state you are unstoppable. And then I want you to remember a time where it wasn't about you selling, it was about you managing a team. Maybe it was 4, 5, 6 years ago. I want you to recall a time when you were at your very best managing a team. It was no longer just about your emotional state, it was managing the emotional state of other people, helping them to solve problems, clarifying outcomes, being strategic with resources. And I want you to recall a particular time where you were at your very best. You had the balance of strategy, motivation. You were respected, but also you were understanding because you'd been in their shoes. I want you to see yourself not just getting results for you as an individual, but getting results across a team. Maybe you can remember the office or the desk or the location where you were at that point, what you were wearing, what you were doing. See yourself as an effective manager, and then step into that version of you. There was a posture, certain mannerisms, phrases that you would say. Imagine you're saying those phrases, you're adopting those postures. Feel where inside you feel that inner belief that you can get results from other people. Intensify that emotion. And imagine that you've now got the ability to be this role to yourself, to hold you up to higher standards, to ignite that passion and enthusiasm in yourself, to create a desire to win in that other part of you that wants to win anyway. And I want you to imagine that you can create this with just a slightly different tonality inside your own head. You had a tonality when you were selling, and you had a different tonality when you were managing. Allow these voices to come up into your mind. So when you're communicating to yourself, when you're managing yourself, activate that management voice. And then when you're selling, allow that voice to be enthusiastic and passionate and full of self-belief and conviction, knowing that you can do this. And then imagine observing yourself in your current business, your current circumstances, where you've got all the skills and resources and inner belief of you selling, but also that ability for you to hold yourself to account, to motivate yourself, to clarify, to solve problems, and see what you're able to do in your own business. See yourself performing at a level creatively, passionately, and see all the benefits that you get from living life that way. There are certain things you can't have enough of, and money and fun are just two of those things. So see yourself with more of both. You enjoy the game, but you enjoy the benefits of that game. And see what that looks like over the next few weeks and months, perhaps even years. Because when you have that endless supply of passion and motivation combined with strategy and real life experience, you're able to ride more of those waves, to enjoy the game, but also the benefits of the game. And when you can see a future where you're performing at the level you wish to perform, let me know by nodding your head. And just know that this is not a possibility. This is a destiny, because you have all the skills, all the resources already there, locked and loaded, and you're now ready to pull that trigger in your own life, in your own choices, in the way that you make the life that you want on your terms, in your way. And then you realize these memories, this beach, this future, are all just thoughts within thoughts, ideas within ideas, dreams within dreams. And I want you to return to the present, listening to my voice firmly in this moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're fully connected in the present, listening to my voice now as I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.